Hi, my name's Jo Hobday. I play pool. I've played since I was 9 and I'm 56 now. I play at local league level. I also play at county level. And I'm the England Ladies B1 captain. I wasn't surprised that Harriet Haynes was taking legal action against the EBPF, which is the English Blackball Pool Federation, because I was recommended to read the UK sports guidance by my local MP, which is the government's guidelines for everything. Basically, they want to try and balance up fairness for females and also inclusivity for transgender and non-binary players. So obviously Harriet isn't banned from playing pool. Nobody wants to do that. So what the situation is that is recommended by the UK sports guidance is that a female only category is made. And then the other event, which is a male event, is obviously changed to open. So obviously they've done fairness for females, but then on the other hand, they've also included transgender and non-binary players. So Harriet isn't barred from playing pool, but is barred from playing in the female only category. When you play as a female and you enter pool competitions and tours and you pay a lot of your hard-earned money to pay them, because they are expensive, some of them, you expect to be playing on a level playing field and playing another biological female. You don't expect to turn up and be playing a biological male. Pool is a gender-affected sport. No matter what operations or what testosterone or anything that somebody takes, it will never bring that level back down to anywhere near a female's. So the biological male advantages are still there. Some of the advantages, obviously, there's quite a list between transgender players who were born male and obviously biological females. The break on a pool table is the most important shot on the pool table. It can somebody can win from that first break, depending how it's set. So the break is really important. And males have a greater force, power, and velocity in their body for their shots. Males are also taller on average, and they also have longer arms, longer arm reach, and also they often have longer fingers. So when they're bridging over the balls, males' fingers are often longer. Women often have to refer to using a rest, which is quite difficult and it's quite cumbersome, and it does inhibit the shots that you want to play. They also have a greater power and more accuracy and control because they've got a better grip, and also stamina. For years, the men have been, they're given less time to play their frames of pool for the same sets than females are. So on average, they'll be given an hour to play the same amount of frames, and females will be given 2 hours. So it shows that if you're giving females and males in competition different amounts of time to play frames, it also means they're allowing for different things like stamina, break and dishes, where you break the balls and you clean up from the break. I'm 100% behind the EBPF banning transgender and non-binary players from female pool tours and comps. It's common sense, it's fair for females, and it just makes it a level playing field and everybody knows where they stand. I feel that the reason that other pool governing bodies are still staying with their U-turn and allowing transgender and non-binary players play, I honestly think, in my opinion, that it's due to the legal threats of solicitors' letters and everything that they're getting bombarded with from the transgender and non-binary players. Legally, because there isn't any obvious people to go to do anything about this, I think it's making it really hard for the governing bodies to know what they can and can't do with reference to transgender players in sport. I contacted my local MP well before Christmas to speak to him about this subject, and he sent me the link to UK sports guidance. So obviously this is the government's recommendation in sports on the transgender policy. It was really interesting. I read it all. And basically they have recommendations that sports governing bodies have the option, if a sport is gender affected, which pool is, to open a female only category, born females, and then an open category, which means that there's fairness for females, but they also include, you know, there's inclusivity there for the non-binary and transgender players. This is UK's sports guidance. So this is, as far as I'm concerned, what the government are recommending, and it's what we all look up to and what is recommended for all of us to go by. But I think it's wrong that the EBPF are following that criteria. They're following what the government are recommending. They're also following the Equality Act as well in what they're doing. So the EBPF are doing absolutely nothing wrong. They've done everything correctly regards fairness in sport for females and also inclusivity for transgender players as well. So it seems very wrong that the sports governing bodies still don't know where they stand and they're scared of the legal letters from the transgender and non-binary players. But they're also, the government aren't doing anything about the fact that the EBPF are having a court case against them, and also myself alongside 4 other ladies have had to take on a legal case to fight this, to make things fair. There doesn't seem to be, the government don't seem to be making things clear as to where we all stand, because we're still all having to legally challenge all this and spend money sorting the mess out, which seems wrong. I think everybody was getting fed up of being labelled transphobic if you had an opinion on it. People are self-excluding because of this situation, because they don't want to be put in a position where they turn up for a female or women's pool match and be faced with a biological male in front of them. They don't want to cause the awkward situation of deciding whether to forfeit the game or not. People are being thrown off tours and asked to leave tours and being reprimanded for discussing things or sharing anything on social media, which I do understand to a certain degree, but it is taking away the freedom of speech of females to talk about the fact that they're not happy about this situation. I've already forfeited 1 game against a transgender player. I don't want to have to be put in that position again. It's not a nice position to be in. It's very uncomfortable. I felt I had no choice when I did it. But hearing of the amount of people who are self-excluding from these governing bodies and moving over to the EBPF, which is Blackball, because at the moment they know there that it won't happen. So you shouldn't have to self-exclude from any of this. This is how bad things are getting. A lot of organisations, sports organisations, over the past year, and especially in the last few months, it's gaining momentum for organisations to, they've started banning transgender and non-binary players from a lot of sports. There's cricket, swimming, rugby union and rugby league. It's increasing all the time. The issue is that I know pool and snooker aren't contact sports, even though they still are gender affected. But I watched a video recently of a ladies basketball team, 2 ladies teams playing each other. And there was a transgender basketball player on one of the teams. And I actually watched the transgender player literally slam dunk the female basketball player on the floor, and then obviously with the ball in the net scored. And the transgender player just walked past the female player who was on the floor, clearly injured, in pain, couldn't get up. The person didn't get up in the video. I cringed and I really wanted to cry, and you realise watching the videos over the last year or 2 since I've been involved in this, that biological females are really getting hurt. There are football teams where, you know, people's schools have been damaged. Life-changing career things means they can't play again in their sports. And a lot of female teams are actually refusing to play other teams now where there's transgender players within the teams as well. So it really is gaining momentum. But But it seems to be that the onus is on the biological females to make the decision to refuse to play, when they shouldn't be having to do this. People shouldn't have to be going to court and refusing to play. There has to be something set there to stop this, because it's not being set there to stop this. And I've noticed from all social media, you've got all of them, you've got Facebook, Twitter, all of them, they seem to be watching with bated breath for these court cases to happen. I think it could set a precedent. Hopefully when one of them wins, it could change a lot of things. Also, not just in sport, it could be anything to do with female safe spaces like toilets, schools. It's a big thing, and it's not just sport, it's other things involved as well. I don't think there will ever be a way where a female category can include transgender or non-binary in sports, because you can't change the advantages that biological males have. So I'm really not sure that there is a way of making it possible. What I find confusing and completely mad, and I don't understand it at all, but when the governing bodies announced the announcement of the non-inclusivity of the non-binary and transgender players, and then did the complete U-turn by allowing transgender players and non-binary players, they basically are allowing biological males into female pool. Basically, they've made it an open event then. So by having males and females in an event, you've made it open. You've changed it from a women's or ladies event or a female event to open. So what I don't understand is, I don't understand legally how you can do that. I don't understand under the Trade Description Act how you can do that. And I also don't understand morally how you can advertise something like a pool event or anything as a women's event or a female event when it's actually not. It's actually a complete and utter lie. And it still amazes me that you can describe something and it isn't what it isn't. There have been, right from me playing at 9, there has been women's and ladies events. And there still is categories for women. There is ladies county teams, there is ladies England teams, as we know. So if people are saying the governing bodies in pool that aren't going, obviously aren't going with allowing a female only category, if they are saying that it is not gender affected, which in our legal case they've denied that pool is gender affected, why have we had sections and categories for females for so long? And why did they make an announcement in the summer to say it was going to be a female category? They must think that that's okay then. So to then go back on all of this and then deny that there is an advantage in pool, or there is a disadvantage, or there is, it's not fair. Just, I don't get it. It just seems like one big fat lie to call a female or women's competition tour or event when it's an open. It's clearly now an open. And I actually think it's derogatory to females. They've made it an open because non-binary means, it's just a man identifying as a woman. So it's a biological male. And they just say, I identify as a female, I'm going in it. They've made it an open event. But they, last year I paid £1,500 to enter a women's competition. And it's not a women's competition, it's an open. I'm coming to the end of my pool career, possibly at the age of 56, and with different health issues, which restricts you, and your time is running out physically and mentally. And I felt that this was the right time in my life to stand up for the young female players coming through, because they are facing all of this and they're already self-excluding and not wanting to play in certain circumstances. At the end of the day, the transgender players are human beings, the same as all of us are. We all have feelings. We all want to play the sport we love. So we're all doing this for certain reasons. but I could not play what I see as somebody who was born a biological male and has them advantages. I didn't like the day. It was horrible. I really didn't. I felt very uncomfortable, but I knew I had to do it. I have no ill feeling at all towards any pool player whatsoever. What people do in their lives is completely up to them. I think we live in a country that is, you can be who you want to be. So I think we live in a country where we're very lucky. A lot of countries aren't like that. And we do live in a country where people can be who they want to be. But when it comes to sports and female spaces, same-sex spaces, things just have to be different. They have to be treated differently. And I just decided that I had to forfeit the game. Looking back now, it was horrible, but I also don't regret it. I did the right thing for myself at the time, and I did the right thing to support female pool players.